Hey guys, this is Scott with Resisting Evil through RSP channel, which stands for Reactions, Sermons, and Podcasts. And today I want to talk about a sermon that I wanted to do on it's kindness and love that leads people to repentance and a change of heart. And I think that's particularly important now because of what's going on in our society, how divided we are, the violence, Black Lives Matter versus Trump supporters, left versus right, Antifa, people being beaten up in the streets based on what color their skin is or if they have a red hat on. And it's okay to dislike and be angry with an idea or a company or a movement or a religion or a group. As an example, I disagree with the lifestyle of homosexuality, but as far as an individual, I would never treat them with disrespect or anger, just kindness. And then there's exceptions for that. But, people, I totally disagree with the Quran, and a lot of its teachings are illegal here in the United States and would get them thrown into jail if they followed it to the letter of the law. And some of them are very good people who are scared if they leave the religion, they could get killed. So you've got to have a different type of perspective. And today I want to open the Bible and we're going to read Romans chapter 2, verse 4. And it says, "Do you show contempt for the riches of his kindness, forbearance, and patience, not realizing that God's kindness is intended to lead you to repentance?" And I think that's a good lesson. If we want to change people's heart, or do we want to just pick a fight and argue and have things devolve into violence and chaos in our society? If you want to change somebody's heart, then show them some kindness. You don't have to agree with them on the issues. You don't have to agree with them on abortion or any of the controversial topics that are out there. But just being kind. I mean, you don't have to agree with them on politics. We can agree to disagree and have a good conversation and have mutual respect. I think as a Christian, I should show respect to every person that I come across, whether it's a waitress, whether they're mopping the floor, whether they're homeless on the street, or whether they're the vice president of the United States or a CEO or a rich billionaire. That kind of kindness and respect is just an American pastime tradition that we don't see anymore. We're letting the media divide us. We're letting them tell us who's bad and who's not. And a lot of times people don't even know. They just heard and they're emotional. I mean, look into stuff. But if we really want to make a difference in somebody's life, it just starts with that basic principle. Do you want somebody who hates you, who yells at you? Love your neighbor as thyself. Love your enemy. The Bible does have an exception for when you don't have to do that. And that's called the swine rule. And Jesus said that, not to give don't cast your pearls before swine, lest ye be torn asunder with the gnashing of teeth. And when it's getting to this violent place where there's gnashing of teeth and people want to attack you, you can't deal with them. But up until that, be kind and respectful. And it's hard to do to an individual. They say turn the other cheek. and to the individual, turn the other cheek. But, when it comes to concepts and evil of Satan and corporations and big name people that are doing so much evil and they're in charge of these big things, it's okay to be angry and criticize them. But that individual in front of you, and these citizens of other countries, you don't know. I mean, I'm not a fan of, like I said, of the Quran, but I'm not going to badmouth or talk bad about the gal with the I forget the word for it, but the head covered. And so the burqa or whatever. But yeah, we need to treat people with kindness if we want to change their heart. That anger, and they get self-defensive, they're not going to hear you. And one of the best advice I ever got, and I tried to do it, and I don't always remember, is to be generous with your gestures with people, to not be stingy with kind gestures of shaking hands, of opening the door, of saying, "Oh, I really appreciate that. Thank you," of raising your eyebrows and your countenance when you see them. "Oh, hey, how are you? Oh, thank you. I appreciate it." And shake their hand. Well, we can't anymore, but the fist bump, do the finger guns. But, that goes a long way. And then you start a dialogue, and then you talk back and forth, and you understand each person's perspective, and you grow as a person. I don't want to be around people that I only agree with. I want to be challenged in my views, and I want to learn. But I'm not going to be deceived by anybody. I know the truth, and I research it for myself. But this concept of just being kind, you don't have to agree with them. We have free will, and that releases me. God's going to judge them. They chose. They made their choices, and if they've done wrong and done bad things, and you can call them on it and say, "Hey, that's bad," and there's nothing wrong with that, but just they made their choices. They're going to be judged by God for what they did or didn't do, and you may think that may not like something, but I mean, let's try to get past that. And so then you can get to the point where you have enough rapport with somebody to tell them the truth about God, to tell them about Jesus, to tell them about the Bible. But they're never going to want to look or hear or even get close to it if you're angry and grouchy and mean to them. But that line where they get violent with you, and they cross that line, then you're released of that responsibility, and you can defend yourself. At that point, you can defend yourself, but don't throw your pearls before swine. But I mean, try to stay calm. Don't take it personally. Don't let them push you or shove you, or don't back down on your beliefs. But that doesn't mean you have to do it in a mean, angry, threatening way. It's kindness that leads people to repentance. And I think there's a lesson in here for me. I've never always been perfect at this. And I think, I'm looking and seeing how that can impact a situation. And it can change somebody. It can really change their heart. And it can... it's a good witness for not just Trump supporters, but Christians. If you want to bring somebody over, it's that kindness. And there are people being brought over to our side because of that kindness and because of the respect. And they're realized that, wow, I thought y'all were mean and racist, and then they realize we're not. But I think that that's a lesson that we don't have to agree on issues. You don't have to be around somebody that agrees with you 100% on everything. You can enjoy them as a person. Jesus hung out with sinners, and they tried to say, "Oh, well, you're not a prophet or a rabbi. You're hanging out with sinners." And he's like, "Well, it's the sick that need a doctor, not the well." He was hanging out with prostitutes and tax collectors and drunks and people, and he'd sit and talk to them and showed them respect and kindness. And it had a huge impact on a lot of them. A lot of people repented and changed their ways and saw the truth. So just try to do better at that. I think it's a good lesson for us all. And have a great week. Bye.